Hello there guys, RMP792 here. It's been a while. Life is still pretty complicated, so this isn't a return to regular viewing or anything like that. But I had a few thoughts following the E3 press conference, and I figured, what the hey, I'll record a little something, because obviously it's too long for a string of tweets, basically. Because I have been trying to tweet more often when I've got something worth tweeting about. So, if you want to go follow that, that's at RMP792 on Twitter, because I'm terribly unimaginative about these things. But anyway, so today I want to talk about Anthem. As you may or may not be aware, I'm quite a big Bioware fan. So we've known for a while that Bioware was working on some sort of new IP. And on, I think it was the Friday conference, we got confirmation that it was called Anthem. We got a little sort of 45-second teaser trailer thing. And when I woke up this morning, I found that at the previous day's conference there'd been about 6.5 minute long gameplay trailer demo type thing, which I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to start with the good. The aesthetic looks interesting. I am pretty much the easiest lay in the world when it comes to anything power armor related. Power armor is one of my favourite science fiction concepts, so I'm liking the look of the javelins. I'm liking the whole, you're going to have... They haven't specifically stated how many. I believe the exact quote from the trailer was, you will have an array of different types of javelin armor. So you can, so you've got... So far we've seen the Colossus, which... Was it the Colossus? It's something along those lines. Which is kind of your big, heavy, tanky one. And then you've got the Ranger, I think it was, which is meant to be a kind of mixed, reasonably fast, reasonably agile, but at the same time lots of firepower, kind of, in the middle kind of armor. Which is good. There's almost certain to be some sort of light, scouty type one. And, light, medium, and heavy are the obvious three. Anything after that will be whatever they come up with that's interesting. But it's power armor. Power armor is cool, and there's lots of different places you can go with it. So I'm genuinely curious to see where they do go with it, and we'll see. So that looks promising. Flying, hell yes. More video games need to let you fly. The trailer is vague as to whether or not that's effectively full flight, or if it was more of a kind of... Bits of it look kind of glidey, where you seem to be sort of, slowly descending. And others you are definitely ascending. So, might be full flight, might be more sort of, bit glidey, but occasionally you can kind of boost upwards. But flight is cool, no matter what, so I'm very curious to see what they do with that. That looks kind of fun. Graphically speaking, it looks really, really pretty, but let's be honest, it's an E3 trailer, and E3 trailers always look really, really pretty, and then whether the game actually looks that good, we don't know. I mean, let's face it, it's a pre-alpha build, so it's entirely possible it might end up looking better, it might end up looking worse. They always bring vertical slices to events like this, which have been polished to absolute perfection, because obviously they're trying to show the best. So we don't know. There's been a lot of jokes flying around Twitter that I've noticed that basically about so this is what all the competent animators were doing. I'll fully admit I don't have a problem with Mass Effect Andromeda's animations. They're a bit janky, but I got used to them. So, I'm not one of those people who claims it ruined the game or anything like that, so make of that what you will. The world itself looks interesting. They haven't really stated whether or not this is, some kind of post-apocalyptic... Apocalyptic? Is that some sort of lipstick that causes the end of the world? Anyway. They haven't really stated if this is post-apocalyptic Earth, or this could be some entirely different planet. I'd honestly prefer it to be, a colony on a different planet, for the simple reason that we've kind of done post-apocalyptic Earth to death at this point. Especially with the whole, creatures have mutated and now everything's different. Seen it, done it, move on. So yeah, so I would definitely prefer this to be a colony on another world. So theoretically, it's a case of, we sent this colony ship to this planet and everything was good for a little while and then it started all going to hell kind of situation. And especially if you basically say they had to go there at sublight in cryo, that explains why they ain't going to get any reinforcements from home or anything like that. So that would work for me. Other things. Now we're getting into the thing I'm less keen on, which is the whole co-op focus thing. The reason that I say this is that obviously the trailer is pretty heavy on the whole, we've got 2 people working together and then we're going to go into this big thing at the end and there's going to be 4 of us. Look, I'll be honest, I don't play video games to play with other people. I mean, the only real multiplayer game I play is Star Wars The Old Republic. And I work with other people as little as I can actively get away with in that game. I mean, I've only completed 1 operation. I've only done it once, and and that was one of the early ones back in the early days of the game. That was the one with the giant Ricardo, the bastard. That one, can't remember. Anyway, because playing with other people just doesn't really interest me. Games to me are very much a power fantasy. I like being the important guy, the guy in charge, the guy at the head of the line, that kind of stuff. It's probably because I don't really have many friends who I would play games with. In that regard, I've got other people I know who play video games, but it's a case of organising us all being online at the same time and on the same device, because the friends I have who primarily play who play reasonable numbers of video games are primarily PlayStation people, and I'm primarily a PC guy with a I do have a PS3, but I don't have a PS4, and obviously at this point they're not making PS3 games anymore. So it's the co-op aspect doesn't interest me in the least. When they put it to Aaron Flynn on Twitter, is this co-op only? He did say no, you can absolutely play it entirely in single player. But I'm not sure if that's going to be the Old Republic style, where it's just a case of you just ignore the other people as best you possibly can, which. It's always hard to feel like the grand hero when there's another grand hero 3 feet over, eagerly waiting for you to hurry the hell up so he can kill the boss as well. But we will see. So hopefully there'll be effectively a fully offline mode, where I could just be in my own little world and play and shoot people and all that good stuff. They keep harping on about the fact that it's going to be Bioware style storytelling, which obviously. Because BioWare's greatest strength has always been the writing and especially their characters. Again, a lot of people felt Andromeda was a bit lacking in that regard. I sort of agree. There's nobody in Andromeda who I think reaches the highs that they've reached before. But at the same time, they're not bad. They're just average for BioWare, which is still way better than most other games companies in this regard. So, yeah. But, so yeah, hopefully we'll have. I'm not sure if we'll be having full companion characters, like previous Bioware games, who'll go out in the field with you and fight alongside you. That would be nice. I would like to have that, but I don't know if we'll have it. But as long as we've got a really good, solid supporting cast, so one of the things I was bouncing around ideas in my head is maybe you've got some sort of base to operate from, because you're apparently a freelancer, whatever that means. Freelancers. As I say, the term is fairly standard, but I'm sure there's some fictional property where they refer to freelancers and they're evil in some way, but I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. It's gonna bug me now. Was it Fringe? Might have been Fringe. Anyway, I feel like it was one of those J.J. Abrams shows. Anyway, moving on. So what I'd like to see, theoretically, is maybe there's some sort of freelancer base. and maybe it's customizable, because they experimented a little bit with customizable bases in Dragon Age Inquisition, but it was pretty limited. It was a case of, there's 3 areas of the castle, and you can, one of them could be either a sort of Templar thing or a mage thing, but it doesn't really have any effect on gameplay other than how it looks. There's the garden, which you can turn either into effectively a garden for growing all the herbs and stuff you're going to need, or you could turn it into a more sort of religious worshipy place that'll net you income in gold, which, again, interesting. Or the courtyard, which you can turn into either a training ground or I think it's a medical area. And again, that has no effect at all on gameplay, that's purely cosmetic. So they've experimented a little bit with this in the past. I'd love to see them actually really go for it, because I remember back when they announced XCOM, specifically the XCOM that eventually became the Bureau XCOM Declassified. One of the things they promised was going to be in that wasn't in the final game, was a kind of full base customization thing where you could alter your base how you wanted and assign people, and it was going to be very similar to the original XCOM. So you build your base, and here's a room, and it does that, and here's a room, and it does that. That didn't end up being in the actual game, and I would love to see someone actually do that in a first person, third person, a game where you're actually kind of controlling a specific character. So it's a case of, this is my base, so we're going to build a research room here, and it's going to do our research, and that's going to be awesome. I don't know if they'll actually do that, but I would absolutely love them to do that, so we will see on that front. What else we got? That would also give us a good place for lots of companion characters, and that would also give you ways to... so say we've got some scientist chap who's working on developing you more advanced stuff for your javelin suits. So he wants a bigger lab, so you can make him happy by building a bigger lab, for example, and that's a natural way to include this stuff that also gives you a little bit of character interaction. So it's similar to the way that different characters will like it if you side with different groups before, but it's a little bit more personal to them. It's a case of am I important to you? Is what I do for you important to you? You can prove that by giving me more resources to to build you cooler stuff. So do you want, for example, an armory where your guys can train, and maybe they'll gain some additional skills from that, or a bigger science lab where you can research more cool tech and get cooler missile launchers or whatever. And that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of possibilities there for companion characters and side characters. And of course, it's a Bioware game, so romance options. Because Bioware does that better than pretty much everybody else. Because the romance options in Bioware games never feel tacked on. They always feel like they're a kind of central part of the experience. I mean, there's something you can completely ignore if you don't care, but a very large, very vocal part of the fan base does. I mean, just look at, with Mass Effect Andromeda again, the whole Make Jar Buy movement on Twitter, hashtag, was basically a bunch of people saying, we feel a bit left out in this regard because there just aren't that many options if you're playing a male rider and you want them to be gay. And Bioware listened and went, actually, you know what, you've got a point. And so they did. And so they made Jarl an option for either male or female players. Which, more power to them. Let's be honest, if I can play through it as Sarah Ryder, which I do, and I can romance half the female population of the galaxy, about half the characters who are available as romance options are available as female romance options. I mean, there's 9 romances and 4 of them are available as female, I think. Something like that. Anyway, so again, lots of options for that. If we do have full characters, backing us up and acting as proper fire support missions and proper companion characters, That could be good. We know that Bioware can do the whole, oh, you might be back at base, but you're still an integral part of this mission kind of romance paths. The really good one they did in the past that I like to use as an example is Samantha Trainer in Mass Effect 3. She might not be a companion character in that sense, but she is still, absolutely a part of the ship and the crew. And the romance path with her, if you're playing as Femshep, is a really good romance path. So this is all stuff I would like to see. No clue if any of it's actually going to be in there, but it's always difficult to judge what we're going to get based on a short gameplay trailer. A lot of the comments have been that it looks very Destiny-esque. I've never actually played Destiny; it didn't really appeal that much. Again, for the whole co-op focus thing, so we will see on that front. As long as you can play it single player, as long as it's got that good Bioware writing, that good Bioware storytelling, that good Bioware companions, romances, and as long as they do something interesting with the main story, because that's kind of Andromeda's weakest point, is that the main story is just sort of okay. Again, it's better than most other people's, but it's not quite up to Bioware's high standard, which I like to describe Bioware as the Pixar of the games industry as far as I'm concerned. They've never made what I consider to be a bad game. They've just made games that aren't as good as their other stuff. It's things like, a lot of people cite that Dragon Age 2 is not very good, to which my comment is, well, it's still better than most other games I own. It's just not Dragon Age Origins and it's not Dragon Age Inquisition. But it's still got some really good elements. I mean, it's still got some utterly fantastic character interaction between between the party members. I mean, the friendship between Aveline and Isabella is still one of my favourite relationships in a video game that I'm kind of not really involved with. Right down to the fact that they start off at the beginning of the game bitching and sniping at each other, and by the end of the game they're still bitching and sniping, but they're doing it in a really friendly way. It's the point at which the relationship between them has evolved to the point at which they're just insulting each other, and they're having a ball doing it because that's just how they are, which is really really fun to watch that evolution. So I hope we get more of that kind of stuff, because that was definitely the thing Dragon Age 2 did really, really well. And Inquisition took a lot of notes from that and did do a lot of stuff that was not quite as good, I don't think, but there was some good stuff. In particular, if you don't romance either Iron Bull or Dorian and you take them as party characters regularly, they actually end up in a relationship, which I think is good. It's nice to see that kind of stuff happening. Same way that if you don't romance Tali or Garrus, right at the end of Mass Effect 3, you basically go into the weapons room and see them sort of, canoodling slightly. Well, as much as a Quarian can canoodle, given the whole, completely covered up, can't open air or they'll die kind of thing. But that kind of interaction is good to see. So I'm hoping we get more of that kind of stuff. So yeah, don't care about the co-op. As long as I can play it single player, I'll be fine. There's lots of talk about dynamic, open world stuff. That kind of stuff's only really good for a second playthrough. But with that said, as long as they do interesting stuff within the dynamic stuff, insofar as it's this random cool mission that has a chance to trigger, and as long as it's not just we saw them flying into a sort of storm, as long as it's not effectively just fly in, do an obstacle course, get a reward, and that's it. Because the problem that both Andromeda and Inquisition had was a lot of the side quests felt very very bog standard, very fetch questy. The notes they really do need to be taken on this one are from CG Projekt Red and the Witcher 3 series, which is basically each side quest is its own little story. That's definitely what we want to have, because those side quests are really good. So, yeah, let's be honest. I've talked for 20 minutes about a 6-minute trailer, so So yeah, that's some stuff I'd like to see. Hopefully we'll see more in the future, and hopefully it'll be good. Yeah, here's hoping. So yeah, this was some rambling thoughts on the upcoming Bioware game Anthem, which is, I think it's autumn next year. They've said is hopefully going to be out by then. So we'll see. So yeah, until then, thank you very much for watching, and well, I'll see you when I see you.